Hi, this is Matt from Speak Straight Mortgage. In this video, we're going to go over how to use this worksheet to determine, to estimate out-of-pocket cost and to itemize closing costs. So to start out, I suggest you watch the first video, which is how much monthly payments will be, because it influences the closing costs. So starting out, if we're in this worksheet, and I suggest doing this on a computer, it can be done on a phone. There's a Google Sheets app, but in my opinion, it's much easier on a computer. So there are multiple tabs on the bottom. The first one is how much will my payments will be. The next tab is how much do I need out of pocket. So if you click that, I have this designed to only enter things in green. In this sheet, there is only one item to enter, and that is discount points. If you watch the prior video, we post live rates and discount point costs on our website, speakstraightmortgage.com. So as an example, if I went here and you picked the program on the first page when you're determining what monthly payment will be, let's say you pick 6.875 rate, it costs, you go 2 columns over, 0.756 points. So if I went back to this worksheet and then hit 0.756, and then I'm changing the rate to 6.875 over here on the first column, then click again, how much do we need out of pocket? It's going to factor based on everything you have in the first column or the first page when you're determining what the monthly payment will be. It's going to transfer to the second page determining out-of-pocket cost. I'm just going to go over this quick. So again, the only thing you need to enter is discount points. That's based on the rate you pick. Everything else in here in blue are adjustments based on certain scenarios, like of an actual purchase. Like for example, if we're using this worksheet, if I'm using this worksheet teaching a new person how about the mortgage process, how you use this worksheet, then they go under contract and let's say the seller is offering some amount of concessions, which is like they're giving money to close the transaction. Then I can enter that to account for it, but I just don't want to make it too confusing at this point. I'm trying to give as much information as I can with the least amount of input while keeping it as accurate as possible. Okay, so going over the actual calculation of what you need out of pocket. This is structured like a loan estimate, and the reason that is to try to help you understand from the beginning what it's going to look like when you actually go to buy a house. So to start out, there's different sections of a loan estimate. The first one is Section A. That is what a lender is charging. At Speak Straight Mortgage, we don't have any lender fees. Many places have fees in Section A. It's really important if you're comparing lenders to know what their fees are, because somebody can post online some crazy low rate and everybody gets excited about it, but they're not telling you what their lender fees are. Discount point cost is calculated based on whatever you put in here. Section B is third-party fees. Section B is composed of third-party fees. One thing to be aware of, everything after Section A is a place can only charge what they get charged. So when you're comparing lenders, Section A really is the most important thing, because the rest on here, somebody can put anything. Like this is what I've seen other lenders do, is they underquote the price of, let's say, homeowners insurance to make it, because home buying can be confusing. So somebody that hasn't bought a house before looks at a worksheet and they see the total amount of closing costs or the total amount of out out-of-pocket cost on the worksheet, and they assume that the numbers are accurate. All of the columns except A will be the actual charge that ends up being. Like when you get homeowners insurance, it's going to be the same no matter what lender you go to. But one lender can underquote it, giving you an estimate less than what it's really going to be to make their estimate look better. So anyway, going back to section B, these are actual third-party fees like appraisal, credit report. One thing to be aware of, processing fee. We don't have a processing fee. Some brokers have a processing fee, and that can range, I've seen, from $300 to $1,000. So that's one thing to be on the lookout for. Section C has to do with title company fees. In Colorado, the seller chooses the title company, and almost always the buyer goes to the same title company. So this will be determined by whatever the title company charges, but this is a good, in my experience, this number is close to what it will be. Section D is just adding all these costs. Section E is recording fees and state tax stamps. Again, these are actual costs. They aren't in, like, one place doesn't charge more than the next. It's just whatever the county charges. Section F, when you buy a house, you prepay in your escrowing. Escrowing means like you're setting money aside to pay homeowners insurance and property tax. You prepay homeowners insurance for 1 year at closing. That's part of closing costs. And you prepay interest based on how many days it is before the end of the month. Because you skip a month, like let's say if you closed on a house on June 15th, you don't pay July 1st, your first payment is August 1st. Section G is escrow. In addition to collecting 12 months, you collect an additional 2 months of homeowners insurance and 2 months of property tax. And then H is miscellaneous fees. That's an example of what would go in here. Let's say if you have a condo or townhouse, they could have homeowners association transfer fees that could go there. Okay, so I and J just total these amounts, and then here's the final, basically calculating everything in here. So closing costs plus down payment, finance closing costs. This is something I suggest if you want if you want to understand this as good as possible, I suggest having a one-on-one meeting, because this is a lot of information. People have questions on it. But finance closing costs mean if you had a VA or FHA loan, there's basically an upfront cost in most cases for not putting 20% down. In the case of FHA, it's called an upfront mortgage insurance premium. It's 1.75% of the loan amount, but it goes into the loan. For VA, it's called a funding fee. It depends on usage to what that is, but most cases people finance it in the loan, so that's subtracted from total closing costs. Then the total of all of this is out-of-pocket cost. That's based on the scenario. That's a total out-of-pocket that you need. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I strongly suggest scheduling a one-on-one video to go more in-depth how this applies to your specific situation, but that's kind of an overview. Our goal is to be as transparent as possible and to give you access to everything so that you know what's going on when it's time to buy a house, that we have you be a part of the process. Well, thank you and have a great day.